Peace, peace, peace. What's good, fam? As you can probably see from the thumbnail, today's topic will be about love, long-term love. The story of my uncle and aunt, who have been married for nearly 74 years. Definitely an inspiration to see that love can last and that black love is real. I'm going to be talking more about that on my streams and as I present more video content about that, to just kind of open the discussion about love, how we get there, how we keep it, and how we build it. Just from things that I've seen, things that I've experienced, both good and bad. So I want to talk about that. I wrote a book called Dating Games A Brother Speaks Up. I guess about 15, 16 years ago. And the story is in part about what happened to my mom, my own mother, who was married for the last, 21 years of her life. And basically it ended in her dying of a broken heart. She was in a very unhealthy marriage, and you find out things about your parents after they pass away. You find out more things, and then you kind of get a better understanding. So, I have the contrast of that, seeing a slow death for my mother, spiritual death, but also I've, witnessed the love of my uncle and aunt. They've been married for so long. And I probably won't live. I definitely won't live. I like to say, I don't want to say definitely, but most likely will not live another 75 years or 74 years. But if I can get another 50 in of wedded bliss, that'll be great. So, I think that we can definitely, have long-term relationships and marriages or partnerships or whatever you want to call it with people if we are doing the work that needs to be done. And unfortunately, the trend in our culture is that we think that relationships are natural. They're supposed to come easy. They're supposed to come without struggle. That everybody that wants a relationship should be in a relationship. And these are the fallacies that we often, have in our minds and then transmute it to our relationships. This is a lot of people. This is the majority of the culture, American culture, black, white, otherwise. But then when you add on the layer of being of African descent, you have additional traumas and dramas, oppressions and hurt and pain and anger, and not always seeing a lot of positive and healthy relationships, in your household or in your community or in your surroundings. And then to compound that issue, when you don't see that, and then you go to school and nothing is reinforced in terms of how to build starting with a healthy self-concept, and then a healthy sense of what a community is, and then a healthy sense and knowledge of what a culture is, and then the healthy sense and practice of interpersonal relationships. When you don't have these things, and you don't see these things, and then you have all of this, not only societal sort of oppression and values being thrown at you, but then you also have your own familial family histories of trauma and drama and unhealed pain, and not having a healthy concept of what you are or who you are as a person of African descent, male, female. And then for some reason, we think that because we're ready, because we want to have a relationship, that we're ready for one. We don't have the training. We don't have the knowledge. We don't have the experience. We haven't learned how to cultivate our spirit and elevate our spirit. I'm not saying all, or maybe I'm not even saying most, but I'm saying too many. So women have this concept or this thought that they are their emotions and their feelings, whereas men think that they are their egos, you know. And both of these are incorrect because we're both spirit, you know, and we both have to always consistently elevate our spirit to move beyond our physical, to move beyond our egos, to move beyond our feelings and emotions, and to move beyond the trap of this society that promotes narcissism, that promotes materialism, that promotes division, that promotes everything but what is love. So we have these societal constraints, right, of, you know, particularly for people of African descent, what a man is, what a woman is, what is success, what is a family, what is love, you know. And then we have these, sometimes these negative, I would like to say too often, these negative experiences within our family of not seeing what a healthy relationship is. And then we wonder why we get in relationships that don't work. And we wonder why we have these men, too many men in our community that aren't being fathers, that walk away. And then we also wonder why, or some of us wonder why, we see all these, you know, women, you know, unmarried women with children, you know. And you don't, you know, I don't want to say like you need a man to raise a child, but actually you kind of do. You need that balance, you know, that masculine and feminine energy. And a lot of times we get involved in relationships way too early, and we're not prepared. Years later, we end up with children and no father, and sometimes no mother, you know, these single parents. And there's no shame in being a single parent, you know, but the question is, when you are not in a relationship or you're not committed to your children's father, it's like, who are your children surrounded by? Like, what are the influences they're getting? You know, what concepts of themselves are they getting? What sort of, you know, support are they getting? Examples of what a healthy relationship is. You know, and so when they don't have this, the cycle just repeats and repeats and repeats. And we see far too many single moms and not enough wives. You see far too many single men that aren't being fathers. But then we also have the other side of that, where we have moms that are thriving. You know, single moms that are thriving. And a lot of times they're thriving because they have this extended support network from family, from friends, and otherwise, you know. But we need to create that environment, and we got to stop the cycle. You know, too often these young women get, you know, they seek. This is my thought, that they seek their father in their, you know, child's father, who ends up being their child's father, and it never works. You know, I don't want to say it never works. Far too often it doesn't work. And then we see these women in their 30s and their 40s, 3 kids, 2, 3, 4 children, and no father. And then seeking love, you know, which is a whole nother issue. Like, you know, women get offered so much all the time from men. So many men come across their way. And sometimes I just wonder about the selection process, you know, that these women are making. Like, the corny guy in your 20s and 30s is now the guy that got away. Happened with my mom. My mom was seeing this guy who was a Black Panther and kind of radical, quote unquote radical, and it didn't work out. He didn't have a lot of money at the time, but what ended up happening is, a little bit later, he got the money, and then he also, you know, was a good man. He got remarried, and my mom said before she passed away that he was the one that got away. And I never got a chance to ask her why it didn't work out, but I can just assume that maybe he was too radical for her at the time, or just talked too much. Or I remember she complained about that. But he ended up still loving her, even though he got married to somebody else. And we need to make sure that we end this cycle, negative cycle. And how can we create, and how can we raise male and females into men and women that make better choices in relationships? Because your relationship could be life or death. So it's a very serious thing that not enough of us take serious. So the My Hot series is going to be talking about that. I'm going to be talking more about that in the future. And we're going to talk about what a healthy relationship is, how we can develop them. And we just kind of throw out some ideas and share and feedback. And so be looking forward to that. I'm working on a few things, several things actually. So I'm going to put a link down if anybody wants to support that process. I'm going to put a PayPal and Cash App. And the reason why I put that down is because I would love to keep this office space that I have now. I would love to have enough resources in order to do these sorts of videos. I would love to have the time, to do these videos. And time is money, and money is time. And I work, I hustle, I do all those things that I need to do, but I would like to be able to spend more time online. And I just realized, I guess within the last few days, in order to do this stuff on YouTube, and we're still in the middle of a pandemic, it's hard to still do certain things that, why don't I raise fund? Why don't I get people to, why don't I do a crowd fund? I may even do like a GoFundMe, so I can have the resources and the money in order for us to have dialogue and for me to have time to do these things. So hopefully you guys can support that. I've been, I've been commenting on this Kwame Brown guy, and I noticed when he does like live streams, I mean, I've seen people sending like $100, $20, $50, and I'm like, wow, man, I wish I had a support base like that, And I know, or I think that he's using this money for youth programs, but definitely, I would definitely love to use the money to, get better equipment, to be able to do, activist work. And I was a big activist at one point in the Occupy Wall Street movement, and then also Black Lives Matter. Did some events and some actions in Black Lives Matter's name, and a lot of events in Occupy Wall Street. And I would love to get back to that life, even if it's just making sure that people have the information and know what's going on out in the streets. So, So if you want to support the cause, and I'll be, talking more about my background definitely in the near future. Definitely when you see this video and you see the links below, please feel free to donate. Also, am still working with a Black Dominican family that's struggling mightily down in the Dominican Republic. And anybody wants to help me do that, help them out, I'll give you more information. I'll put my email address as well if you want more information on that situation. So, got a lot going on, folks. So, also, what's really important, even more important than the resources and even everything else, is that people like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because the more, subscribers I have, and the more I trend, the more that I, get clicks, the more we can kind of direct people to this sort of content. And if you go to my community page, you'll see that the sort of content and where my mind is at in terms of things that I put out and things that I reflect off of you guys. You guys bounce back really good ideas and comments. And so this is kind of, I want it to be, it's not just about me, it's about us. So, that's pretty much it. My uncle and I, back to them, have been married for nearly 74 years, and they have a lot of respect towards each other. never cheated. They're from the old school, but they have a lot of things that they do in terms of like respect, like him sitting at the head of the table during dinner, and her making sure that the house is run properly. She's not just out, but she also has worked as well. But he really worked his butt off to support his wife, and they have 3 children as well, 4 children, and they all turned out to be really good human beings and really good family members. So I'll talk more about them in the future, but they're definitely an inspiration and proof positive that black love and long-term love is possible. Anyway, again, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification bell. And have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.